All right, hi, thank you very much. Thanks for having me today. Like Jackie said, my name is Kate Sullivan. I am a senior researcher at AIR and I'm based out of Boston. So I'm going to introduce the study today and give a brief overview of the rationale and the research questions that are behind the study. The report's in the final stage, so hopefully it'll get released soon, so keep your eye out for it. So before I go further, I want to thank Liz Barkowski and Jim Lindsay, who just spoke actually, as well as Val, Tan, Dennis, and Lee Lynn with Empirical Ed, who helped immensely with this report. And actually Yin Mei, who helped on the report as well. So like the study title shows, the study focuses on teacher mobility in Texas. And Texas public schools make for an interesting place to study education research, partially due to how big it is. So between 2010 and 2016, the K-12 enrollment increased from about 4.8 million students to about 5.3 million students. And to cover all these teachers, Texas has about 350,000 Texas public school teachers. So we have several landmark studies of teacher-owned mobility in Texas in particular, and I have a couple listed here below you can see. And these provided a critical baseline for information and context about teacher mobility in Texas. However, you can see that these haven't been updated with any new data since about 2010. And the other thing to note about these studies is they tended to be done at the state level. So it meant it was difficult to apply or translate any of the results to more local levels. And it's possible that there's some regional differences that might have been masked. So the desire for more recent data really coincided with the development of the Texas Educator Equity Plan. And the Educator Equity Plan is part of the Federal Excellent Educators for All initiative. And this outlines the requirements for states to ensure that all students have access to excellent educators. As part of developing this plan, TEA, or the Texas Education Agency, and its partners analyzed data to identify some of the root causes of these equity gaps. And they found that economically disadvantaged students and minority students were more likely to be taught by inexperienced, unqualified, or out-of-field teachers at higher rates than other kids. So TEA sought some strategies to reduce these inequities and listed teacher retention as an area that needs some attention. So to address this, the REL Southwest Educator Effectiveness Research Alliance helped develop the study of teacher mobility in Texas. There we go. So the study is largely guided by 4 research questions, and it's mostly descriptive and correlational in nature. All the research questions focus on the past 5 school years, so 2011-12 through 2015-16. The first research question was designed to provide an overarching description of teacher mobility rates at the state level and also at the regional level, so that the 20 education service centers that Texas is divided into. The second question explores how teacher characteristics like race, ethnicity, certification, and educational attainment are related to teachers' likelihood of staying in the same schools, moving schools, or leaving Texas public schools. The third question examines the correlations between school-level mobility and the characteristics of the students that are in those schools. So this might include the proportion of minority students, English learner students, and economically disadvantaged students. And then finally, the last research question takes advantage of the data collected during the pilot year of the Texas Teacher Evaluation and Support System. And here we examine how teacher mobility may be correlated with school-level ratings of the T-Test teacher evaluation rubric. So like I said, today I'm just going to kind of go over the methods and the design. So one of the interesting aspects of this study is how we define the metrics of teacher mobility. The first metric, mobility rate, is pretty standard. Yin Mei and Jim presented similar equations. It represents the proportion of teachers who move schools within a district, across districts, and we also include those who leave Texas public schools each year. So you can see here it's the chunk represented in the, it looks like the red pie piece, whereas in the more green pie piece, those are the teachers that stayed in the same schools between years. And then what we think might be one of the more unique contributions of this paper is our second metric of teacher mobility, and we call it the destination proportion. So here what we do is we move beyond lumping all those in that red pie piece that moved or left public schools, and we're breaking out each type of teacher mobility. So this helps us describe not only how many teachers are moving, but where they're moving to, or if they're leaving even. So for example, if you just pick one of those, if you focus on the proportion of teachers who move across school districts each year, we're able to track that proportion each year and then track to see if that changes over the last 5 years, to see if there's any differences. So like I said, this report is just in the very final phases of review. Hopefully it's going to be released in the next, I want to say, couple weeks. We'll see, so keep your eye out for it. We're excited to get going on it. These are the references that I listed earlier if you want to take a look at them. And please feel free to reach out with any questions. Hopefully the report will be released to you all soon. Thank you so much. Pass it on to Val.
Hi, Val. This is Emily Loney. Looks like you're muted. Can you? There we go.
Hello. I'm going to give a brief overview of another study that is close to completion. It was prepared by the team that included Megan Toby, Dennis Newman, Lillian, Jenna Zakami, and myself. And it's a study of indicators of teacher recruitment and retention in Oklahoma rural schools. The study was a response to the needs of Oklahoma Rural Education Research Alliance and addresses the problem of recruitment and retention, which is an issue in Oklahoma schools, like in many other states. The study focuses on identifying factors that could predict successful recruitment and retention, and ultimately could lead to the development of policies that target particular districts or groups of teachers. The study sought to establish the patterns of teacher mobility, and most importantly, it focused on the analysis of effects of particular indicators. For the purposes of this study, an extensive database was assembled that included 10 years of teacher employment records spanning the years from 2005 to 2014-15, 10 school years, school characteristics from federal and state sources, and a large number of indicators, community characteristics, mostly based on the American Community Survey data. And a peculiar feature of this study is that we decided to do separate analysis of two related issues. One is the successful recruitment, defined broadly as the ability of districts to retain beginning teachers for the 3-year probationary period. And for that study, the successful outcome is the indicator of teacher returning for the 4th year to work in the same district. Another aspect of the study is the retention of tenured teachers in the longer term. The two parts of this study have different analytical approaches and rely on somewhat different samples. In the analysis, we evaluate the effect of individual indicators, and also we set the task of identifying the relative importance of the whole 3 groups of factors. Teacher level indicators include teacher characteristics, as well as the aspects of teacher employment at the individual level, such as compensation, teaching workload, and education level, and so on. District level characteristics are average student and teacher characteristics and student achievement. And community level characteristics basically cover all or at least many aspects of what can be defined as quality of life in the broader community where districts are located, and that included characteristics such as income and employment profile, population dynamics, affordability and availability of housing, and so on. A few dozen different indicators, as I said, mostly from the American Community Survey. Excuse me. In the analysis of recruitment, we used, as I mentioned, the outcome teacher returning for this fourth year and apply logistic regression. This analysis only includes the smaller sample of teachers from which we could conclude with certainty that they did or did not return for the fourth year within the time frame of the study. For retention, we use what is called survival analysis, and it's a method of determining factors associated with the probability of teacher returning to another year of service after being employed in a district for a certain number of years. And since we only cover 10 years of the sometimes much longer career paths, the estimates are maybe less accurate, especially for the earlier years in the period. The potential implications of this study is that once we identify the indicators that are strongly positively or negatively associated with the probability of successful recruitment and retention, the decision makers can tune up the policies to address those factors to offset the negative ones or support the positive ones by developing particular initiatives. And of course, we this study creates a basis for more detailed studies of factors that or for the reasons of data availability left out of the current